You see them at the edge of the crowd. They look a little different. Shorter, powerfully built, with a chest like a barrel and a broad, prominent nose. Their brow is heavy, their chin almost non-existent. They are quiet, observant, and seem to carry a kind of ancient stillness in a world of frantic noise. This isn't a scene from a movie. This is a hypothetical Tuesday, because for about 10,000 years, this was the reality. Two distinct human species, Homo sapiens and Homo neanderthalensis, shared the plains of Europe and Asia. Then, about 40,000 years ago, one of them vanished. But what if they hadn't? What if Neanderthals had survived? How would your world, your society, even your own mind, be different today? The story we used to tell was simple. We were smarter. They were brutish. We had complex language. They had grunts. We were the inevitable winners of evolution. But that story, like so many simple stories, is wrong. Neanderthals were not the dim-witted cavemen of cartoons. We know this from archaeological sites like the Bruniquel Cave in France. Deep inside, Neanderthals built complex structures from broken stalagmites, hundreds of feet from any natural light. This required planning, cooperation, and a sophisticated understanding of their environment. They did this 176,000 years ago, long before your own direct ancestors were creating anything comparable. They also had culture. They buried their dead, sometimes with flowers, as suggested by finds at Shanidar Cave in Iraq. They used red ochre, a natural pigment, possibly for body paint or rituals, and they cared for their sick and elderly. The skeleton of an old Neanderthal man found at La Chapelle-aux-Saints shows he had debilitating arthritis and had lost most of his teeth. He couldn't have survived alone. Someone fed him, protected him, and kept him alive for years. This is evidence of a powerful emotion, compassion. So why did they disappear? It's one of prehistory's greatest mysteries. Theories range from climate change to competition with us. Your ancestors. Homo sapiens tended to have larger social groups, which might have given us a competitive edge. Perhaps we simply outbred them. Or maybe we absorbed them. The evidence is in your own DNA. If you have ancestry from outside of Africa, you carry between 1 and 4% Neanderthal DNA. This isn't an accident. It's the genetic ghost of thousands of encounters between our two peoples. We met, we lived alongside each other, and we had children together. The work of geneticists like Svante Pääbo, who mapped the Neanderthal genome, proved this beyond any doubt. We didn't just replace them, we merged. So, let's step into that alternate world. A world where they didn't vanish. What would it look like? First, society would be fundamentally different. For our entire history, we have been the only human game in town. This has allowed for a certain kind of arrogance. The idea that we are the peak of creation, the only truly intelligent life. How would that change if you had another kind of human to talk to? Would racism as we know it even exist? Or would it be replaced by a deeper, more profound speciesism? Would we have Neanderthal rights movements? Would there be separate nations or integrated societies? Their minds were different. 2. Their skulls show they had a larger cranial capacity than us on average, but their brains were shaped differently. The occipital lobe, for vision, was much larger. The parietal lobes, for sensory integration, were smaller. Archaeologist Rebecca Ragg Sykes suggests this means they might have had a profoundly different way of experiencing the world. Perhaps they were more visual, more in tune with the patterns of nature, the subtle shift of the seasons, the tracks of an animal, less concerned with abstract symbols and long-term planning, and more grounded in the immediate, sensory present. Would they have invented agriculture? Unlikely. Their bodies and minds were perfectly adapted for a hunter-gatherer lifestyle they had perfected for over 300,000 years. They were built for short, powerful bursts of speed to ambush large prey in forests. Your ancestors, built more like marathon runners, were adapted for chasing animals across open plains. Two different bodies, for two different worlds. A world with Neanderthals might have been a world without cities, without empires, without the relentless march of progress that began when we started farming. Think about the implications. No industrial revolution, no digital age, but also, perhaps, no climate crisis. A planet with two successful human species might have found a more sustainable balance. And what about you? Personally, in this world, you might not just be Homo sapiens. You could be a hybrid, with a much larger percentage of Neanderthal ancestry. Perhaps you'd be more resilient to cold, better at spotting details in a complex landscape. Your immune system would certainly be different. Armed with genes from a lineage that had adapted to European pathogens for millennia longer than your sapiens ancestors. But maybe the biggest difference would be psychological. You would have grown up knowing, in your bones, that humanity is not one thing. It's a spectrum, a family with many different cousins. The loneliness of being the last human standing would be gone, replaced by the challenge and the richness of sharing a world we will never know for sure. Their world is gone, preserved only in fragments of bone and stone, but their legacy is not. It lives on in the 2% of your genome that is a direct message from them, a reminder that we were not always alone. You see them at the edge of the crowd, and you don't think different. You think family, because for 40,000 years, that's exactly what you both could have been.